Jeremy Nizer here. In this episode, I sit down with the great John Wilson from Ballgame Consulting. John is a 20-year veteran of professional sports and held every sales role you can imagine, from ticket sales to a group sales director, elevated to VP of ticket sales, to general manager, to president, and he's worked for many organizations from independent professional baseball, to minor league baseball, to across the board to the major leagues in the NBA and NFL. John's going to share with us today some things that GMs are looking for from their marketing directors. We talk about the concept of promotion, stacking, and much, much more. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Sports Marketing Machine Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Nizer. Today, we're joined by the great John Wilson of Ballgame Consulting. John, you are a sales trainer, but before you became the sales trainer for a lot of sports teams across the country, we worked together in minor league baseball, Birmingham, and you've had stops across the way from sales directors to groups. You've done a lot of different things. Share a little bit about your background, John.
Yeah, me and you worked together, it seems like 100 years ago, but in Birmingham, Alabama, the Birmingham Barons. I've been really fortunate to work for multiple really good minor league teams. Birmingham Barons. I worked for the Sacramento River Cats when we dominated minor league baseball in attendance, and then worked also on the East Coast for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Been in the NBA with the Minnesota Timberwolves, NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ECHL with the Greenville Road Warriors, and then my last 8 years I've spent in MLB Partner League Baseball, working for the Southern Illinois Miners and the Joliet Slammers.
So you have been everywhere and put a lot of miles on the car and have seen things more than most people from a sports perspective, and have learned and heard and did. So basically you've kind of done it all, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been in small markets such as Marion, Illinois, and then large markets such as Minneapolis with the Timberwolves and Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers. And it's interesting just to see how different the minor league sports are compared to NFL, NBA. It really is.
Lots of fun, lots of things that you've learned and picked up and what have you. So this podcast, we always talk about things that marketing directors can do to help grow their fan base and sell more tickets. And your perspective is kind of unique because most marketing directors at minor league levels are wearing 17 different hats. You're the MC, you're also running community relations, you're running the in-game entertainment, you're also buying promotions, but most cases you're also part of the sponsorship team or the ticket sales team selling group tickets, or even running the box office or what have you. So in this case, I'm really kind of leaning on you to share some perspective because you've been around, you've helped a lot of sports teams, you've been VP and general manager at many sports teams. What are some important things that a marketing director could provide you if you're the president, you're the general manager, you're the person in charge, that really would help you make better decisions, help sell more tickets, and really kind of give an understanding of where things and what things are happening?
I think there's a couple of things. And there's a marketing director is so important for an organization. And there are too many times that organizations, and because of the size of their staff, the marketing director has to wear multiple hats. In a perfect world, they would just be a marketing director. But usually in minor league sports, that's not the case. But, I mean, number one is just develop an overall plan to promote the team. Have a plan, have a calendar, have a thing in season and out of season, that you have a plan, a strategic plan to promote the team. And then the other thing is they need to oversee the development and the execution of that plan. Sometimes a lot of the plans get developed, but they don't get executed, or they don't oversee it. They pass it off to an intern. They pass it off to a sales rep. They need to be the one that oversees and executes the plan. And it's so important because marketing does everything. It helps you sell season tickets. It helps you sell group tickets. It helps you sell your individual tickets, your walk-up tickets, your pre-sale. I mean, the marketing reach is so far, and it not only helps everyone when they think about marketing. I think a lot of people just think, oh, it's individual game sales. That's all it does. No, it helps you on every facet um, of the ticket sales business. The other thing I think is important is using all your platforms. Uh, I work with some teams on the sales side, and I am shocked of how many teams out there that don't use all their platforms. And I've came into teams and started with teams that say, "Oh, we use Facebook, or we use Facebook and Instagram, or we use these two." But so many teams don't use LinkedIn, don't use TikTok, don't use all their platforms. And you really, to get your message out and get the best reach, you need to use all your platforms, Twitter, everything. All your platforms need to be used.
So as a general manager, you want to see data, right? You want to see, hey, where are my ticket sales coming from today? And that's one of the areas that I've noticed a lot of teams just missed the boat on, and actually tracking where ticket sales come from. How valuable is that information? If you're the general manager or VP of ticket sales and you're looking at 5 game mini plans or even group sales, and you can say, hey, here's where these came from. How valuable is that?
I think it's a huge value, and I think it's also a huge value in the sponsorship world as well. Because if you're talking to sponsors and you're like, "Hey, we have 60% of our fans on Friday and Saturday nights are coming to games from your area, from your city, from your zip codes," it's a huge benefit to have that. And the more knowledge, the more information, the more statistics you can get, the more successful you'll be as an organization.
So talk about it. You're meeting with teams, and a lot of the times you're spending time working through tactics about doing outreach of ticket sales, and you're talking about sponsorship sales, and you're talking about what the pitches should look like and what your proof of proposals and what have you. What are some things that the marketing director can do to help make it easier for your group sales team and for your sponsorship team to be able to go out there and make the pitches, in addition to make them graphically beautiful? What are some things that they should have in there? You mentioned data. What else?
I think they need to post that stuff on LinkedIn and all their platforms as well. Um, the more knowledge and the more stuff that they can get out in front of buyers, the better off you are. Because you don't know who on Twitter is a business leader. You don't know who on Facebook could be a president of a company. I've had reps come in and say, "John, they posted that information out there about our Friday night fireworks night." And all of a sudden, I got 3 or 4 of my group leaders finally calling me back and booking their group. So getting that, they are an extension of the sales team. The marketing director, the more stuff they can boast, the more things they can get out there, it helps make the sales team, makes their job easier, but also it gets information in people's hands. So instead of the sales team constantly making outbound calls, they're actually getting some inbound calls or inbound emails saying, "Hey, we're interested in doing an event with you guys."
Yeah, that's one of the big things that I talk to teams about when they put together social media and they say, oh, we've posted a lot on social media. And it's typically one of two things. It's the game action, the great plays from the games, or it's like, hey, here's the upcoming promotion. But the experience is significantly different. You've got folks who are coming for picnics and parties. You've got folks coming in because it's a family reunion. You've got all these different things that would support the sponsorship side of things, but it also sponsor the group sales side of things, right? So that's kind of where we're going here, is really thinking holistically rather than thinking in a vacuum about, I'm only promoting these promotions and I'm only doing this, right?
Right. I 100% agree. You can do a lineup, or you can do a firework promotion, or you can do the player of the game and then have a call to action at the bottom or something of your post that says, "Hey, group tickets are on sale," or something. Every post you do, I'm a big believer, every post you do, it doesn't matter what it is that it's talking about, the sport of it, you can add a call to action to it about ticket sales, season tickets, groups, suites, anything. And I think a lot of teams don't do that. They're like, "Well, I don't want to do it too much. They'll quit following." They won't quit following you. They're
Correct.
fans. They're going to follow you, and you're giving them an easier way to reach out. A lot of people don't know how to buy the tickets, buy individual tickets or group tickets. Some people don't know what the easiest way to do it is. You're helping them by providing them a link or some information on those posts as well.
Yep, absolutely. One of the other roles for the marketing director is to support the sponsorship side on crafting those proof of performances. These are the end of the year recaps for your sponsors. What are some things that you like to see in there, and that you go out and as you're telling and working with these teams, hey, make sure you include these things because this will increase the value and provide a better perspective of what happened. What are some things that you like to see in there?
Well, I know I get to look at a lot of proof performances, and a lot of people just do attendance or they do how many followers, and that's not. You need to get them as much information about impressions on your website, monthly, yearly impressions. There are so many impressions things, so many statistic things for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You need all of those numbers. The more numbers you have, the more value that sponsorship is for the client. For example, I had a former team that we had a ton of traffic by our stadium a day. And they were like, well, I don't think we should put that in there, you know. And I was like, yes, you want that in there.
100%. Yep.
We have 9,000 cars a day driving by our stadium. That's an important piece of knowledge for our sponsors and for potential new sponsors. So the proof performances, the more impressions, the more statistics, the more numbers you can get them, the better you're going to be. It adds more value to your proof performance besides just your attendance numbers. People want everything, and I think that's important.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. You're working with sales teams across the country. So let's talk a little bit about what you do, and then we can kind of dive into how this relates to marketing directors. So you're working with teams on training their sales team. Is it mostly sponsorship? Is it mostly group sales? What is it?
It's a combination of both. I would say it's 50-50. I work with um, approximately 12 teams, 12 to 15 teams right now, where I'm doing sales training for their staff, and working with them on ticket sales, sponsorship sales, and then working with them through the sales process, making the meeting, face-to-face meetings, and then closing, how to close the sale, how to ask for referrals. So really taking them through the whole sales cycle. And I think the two things that makes me a little bit different than other sales probably training, all sales training is good.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we were in Birmingham, literally, I before I was in Birmingham, I did a internship in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I think they gave me a phone book and said start selling.
Yeah, that was it. They
And
just
so
gave
I
us phone books.
a phone book and start selling. And I knew for me, I was just going to have to outwork people. I
Mm-hmm.
am trying to help teams that don't have the sales budget to do a sales training budget. So I'm not only doing affordable, but I think the two things that have made me stand out as far as one, I'm relatable because I can talk to the younger people and the older people and say, I did what you did last August for the last 20 years. I haven't been out of sales for 10 years. I was selling last year. And I think that shows them, okay, he's done this stuff and he was doing it last year. And it makes me more relevant to them. The second thing is, in my sales training, I don't come in for a day or two and do the sales training and then just say, oh, bye, good luck. I hope you do everything. 90 days after the sales training's over, the GM, the owner, the president can call me and reach out to me and say, hey, John, I have a rep that's struggling in one of the aspects. Can we set some time aside and can you reach out to them and talk to them and let's work them through this? Or they'll say, hey, my best sales rep just left me. We hired a new person. Can you get on the phone with them or get on a video call with them? And for 90 days, I'll do that at no cost. I want to make sure that everyone has the tools so they can be successful. And the other thing is, I'm affordable where some of the smaller market teams and smaller staff teams, if you have a staff of 3, 5, 6, 7, in the past you couldn't afford sales training. Now they can say, okay, I can afford it. I can, he is affordable enough where I can have a sale, make one sale, and we paid for our sales training. So I think that's where I think it's been the difference. And I've been fortunate to work with some great organizations that taught me a lot over my 20 years in sports. And now I want to pass it on to the new people in sports.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great thing for guys like us who have started by literally taking out the phone book and going, okay, I'm calling L's through K's today, or whatever the letters that are, and you're just working your through it, and then working all the way to the point of getting internet and then sending emails and pounding the phone calls, being able to go back and help people. I think that says a lot about the experience that you have, but a lot about the character of in the individual type person that you are, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's so like talking to the young kids that are just now getting in sports and talking with them, they're so appreciative. They're like, man, they want to make more calls now because they feel more comfortable. They're like, I've had multiple kids from multiple teams call me or email me the week after the training say, I was in the office at 7:30 making my calls because I felt more comfortable. I knew what I was doing. I knew how to ask for the sale. I knew how to ask for the appointment. And to me, that's what it's all about. They're going to be more productive when they're more comfortable. And that's the number one reason they don't make calls or don't make the emails and stuff and do the contacts because they don't feel comfortable. They're scared of someone telling them no. But after the training, they feel comfortable that, hey, I might get some no's, but I'm going to get a lot less no's. And I'm going to be more prepared so I can overcome an objection and make the sale.
Yeah, confidence is such a huge thing, specifically with young sales reps, and confidence sometimes comes from having some sort of success. So if you can give them some couple quick wins right out of the gate, they're more inclined to pick up the phone call and
Right.
just start making phone calls, right?
Definitely. I mean, as soon as a rep gets his first sale, I think it takes the pressure off of them. They start feeling more comfortable. Um, and I tell all the sales reps this in the training. I can teach anyone how to sell if you're willing to learn. I can't teach you the work ethic. You have to have the work ethic to put the time in to make the calls, to get the face to face appointments. And if you do the two things, you'll be successful. And I think most of them get it. Most of them do it. So it's been good so far with them picking it up.
So I don't remember if you remember this or not, so I'm throwing you a fastball here, but in Birmingham, there was a process after we made a sales call, or after you made a sale, right? You'd have to fill out the contract, you do all those different things. Then it was like you did this, and get back on the phone because you are hot. Like they put that in like a checklist or something. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I think did we have a call log sheet that we
Something
wrote
like that.
down?
Uh huh.
Yeah, what companies and stuff we had reached out to. I think we did. And that's we're talking about this. The two of the things that teams do, I think, right now that are so affordable that they can do them that they don't do to be more successful in sales. One, bring someone in for sales training, especially if you have a new staff, a young staff, even if you have an older staff. Sales training for anybody is good, and you're always going to take something out of it, even if you're the most experienced salesperson. You're going to take a 2 to 3 new things out. The second thing is make sure you have a CRM. I mean, you should got to have a CRM with the turnover in sports and how many like organizations run through people and they're taking them the next job in sports, or they're leaving sports, or you're adding staff, or you're losing staff. You got to have a CRM. You got to know where your employees left off on that last contact with that either client or prospect. And I think those are the two biggest takeaways I've learned so far that teams have to be successful in sales to reach your full potential. You got to have a CRM. I have a CRM. You probably have a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that I work with has a CRM, and it's so important to be able to give great customer service and to make sure you don't lose a huge prospect because you didn't follow up with them.
Yep, 100%. So I'm going to bend your ear on this one here, but two like uncommon places to find group sales leads or sponsorship leads. And so now I'm going to test you a little bit. What are some places that folks don't typically look to find group sales leads or sponsorship leads? I think this kind of gives you folks an idea of, hey, here's how John works a little bit in addition to the training, but he also gives you some opportunities to find more group sales and find more sponsorship. So fire away.
I think LinkedIn is the most underused platform for any type of leads. If you scour through LinkedIn, you look the right way, you will find a contact. If you can't find the decision maker that you need, you can find someone that is close enough to them that they can get you to that decision maker. The other thing is if you have the money and you have a budget for it, invest in some leads generations, either Zoom Info or Sponsorship United. Invest in those companies so you can save your reps time in looking for leads and provide them. Both of those platforms are amazing. Both of them I've used, and both of them I've used recently, and they really help you get to the decision maker. Um, and I think having some kind of platform to help you beside using the internet, using LinkedIn, those are a couple other ways I'd recommend, because they're worth the value of the cost of both platforms.
Yeah, wonderful, great insight, great tips on those. Kind of diving into a couple more tactics and tips related to marketing directors supporting group sales and sponsorships and what have you. Let's talk about this term promotion stacking. Essentially, what this means is there's no silver bullet to sell out a game. You're having fireworks is great, but you also have to do X, Y, and Z. What does that look like from a GM's perspective? Like, okay, how are we going to get there? Do we have to have seven things? What does that look like? And oftentimes it's not necessarily a giveaway and a fireworks, or a giveaway and what it is. What are some things that you could kind of stack together to help get closer to that sellout night that you've seen that worked out really well, specifically from a group sales side?
I think on a group sales, of stacking is a great idea. I mean, you can do fireworks with a great promotion, like doing fireworks with it's a princess night, and you got princesses all over taking pictures. And then say you're going to do a giveaway item that's geared toward kids that day. It's a giveaway bag, a princess bag. I think stacking to get those, because you may have someone that really likes fireworks but doesn't care about the princess. You may have someone that cares about the princess bag and really wants the princess bag, and that's why they're coming for it. And then, or you may have someone that just coming because they want to get their daughters or their granddaughters pictures with princesses. I think tying two or three things into one night makes that night a huge night, instead of, oh, it's a great night or a good night. Well, no, we've just added three or four different things that if one of them didn't catch the consumer's eye, the other two did. And I think more and more teams are doing that. Probably 5 years ago or 10 years ago, teams said, no, why would I do that? Why would I give them two fun things on one night? I want them to come back on Saturday night and for the second night. Well, no, that's a great idea. But if you can stack two or three great theme with the fireworks and a promotion, and you tie them all together, and not everything has to be something that costs money. Maybe it's a day you're bringing all the little leaguers out and they're doing the bases, and you're having autographs by your players, and then you're going to have fireworks. But I think you can tie two or three things into a night, and that way, instead of you just getting one family involved that likes one thing, you're getting 10 different families that are involved that want one aspect of that night. And I think, would you agree, more and more teams are doing that now compared to 5 years ago? They never thought about doing it, or didn't want to do
100%. It used to be, hey, it's just fireworks night. That's all we're doing. And they would sell typically like a picnic or two, and maybe a couple groups here and there. But they're stacking it with the princess night. Hey, it's a princess and fireworks night, or it's signing with the players pregame and a fireworks night, or whatever it is. And you stack them with groups, and the more that you stack, the better chance you have to be able to make a sellout night and get closer to that number that you really want to get to. So 100%. Yeah, when I began in sports, it used to think, oh, we're going to do team photo day, and this is just going to bring people out. Well, you need more than that. If you're going to do team photo day, you couple it with autograph session on field before the game. And that was a common mistake in the early 2000s that a lot of teams just completely missed. And I was in that boat too, because we were all learning and growing together. But yeah, last 5 years has been this shift of, hey, how do we stack promotions to get to the best crowd that we possibly can on this Friday or Saturday night, and be able to just pack it in there. Some situations, here in Asheville, North Carolina, they're Thirsty Thursdays. They're always great because that's what they're known for. Until you're known for a specific promotion during the week, you got to stack promotions.
No, I 100% agree. There was a team in Illinois, Southern Illinois, a few years ago that we stacked, and they did a great job. They did their first responders night, and then they tied it in with a military appreciation night, and then they had veterans on the field, and they just made the night more than just about it being a military appreciation or a veterans night. They had interactive things. They just made it a big night by stacking different things, and it was a huge night. I think they gave out flags, and they just did a great job of just making it an experience, but adding so many different elements and promotions to that night that they got so many different types of companies and groups to come out to watch the night. And I think it was huge for them.
Is that part of your sales training when you sit down with teams? You not only help them with making sales calls and overcoming objections, but it's also part of planning a little bit, right?
Yeah, it is planning. It's planning on how many staff they should have, what roles they should be in. Should they just be salespeople? Should they be salespeople, operations, and marketing, or should they wear three or four hats? Some promotional things. What good promotional things have worked. I think I can remember a time in Birmingham, and I remember we did it one year, our first year there. I don't know if you remember used car night.
Oh yeah, used car night was the best.
Yeah, they gave away a car every inning, in between
Hmm.
innings, and things like that. I mean, those are the type of things that just stand out where fans and companies in Birmingham, we had some promotions that I knew as soon as the promotional
Hmm.
calendar came up, I knew what groups were going to call me because they wanted that same night every
Hmm.
year. They wanted that promotion. They wanted that fireworks show with the act that came in the zoo.
Superstars. Yep, the
The
superstars.
superstars. They
Uh huh.
wanted superstars in the firework night. They wanted that night, and they were
Hmm.
going to come. And every year we booked that, they would tell me, "Hey, as soon as that promotion counter comes, we want that night." And that's what you want. You want these
Hmm.
groups that are used to coming out on those big nights that they really enjoy. So when your promotional calendar comes out, you can say, "Okay, boom, boom, boom. I can lock these dates in." That's when you know that you've got a good promotional night and you're doing the right things because as soon as that calendar comes out, you're booking those dates.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I remember those days in Birmingham where we, come December, almost every single picnic area for the fireworks games were already sold out. So we literally were already had a thousand attendance on the books because we'd already sold those areas, and it was December, 5 months before the season even started. So those were great, but that's 100% great planning as you start to build the brand around. Hey, this is what should you expect, and then following up and getting people to book on those types of nights. So hey, if you like coming out to fireworks and superstars, I'll call you immediately when we schedule it. So next year we can get you on the books and get you scheduled. And a lot of folks are just like, "Yep, count us in," and that just makes it easier. It sure does from the group sales
Yeah.
perspective and the sponsorship across the board. It's easy for everyone.
Yeah. And it's the same way in Sacramento.
Uh-huh.
You guys played out with us in Sacramento. We knew that when our schedule come out, if you didn't book your club area or your rooftop or your areas immediately, that like when that calendar came out, your Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays and Thursdays for a group area or barbecue area were gone. They
Hmm.
were going to be sold out. They were going to be out. So yeah, having that demand is huge. And the promotions and marketing, everything that the marketing and the promotions do ties that in to make that a special night, but also gets the client more involved so they want to purchase those nights and come back every year.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about your sales training. If someone was interested in kind of working with you, what is your pitch? You talked about that you were in the same seat of them a year and a half ago. You were making sales calls, and then also you have a lot more of some after the training. You have 90 days that you're helping, and you really want to see people successful. Anything else on your sales training that might be important to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I think it's all about relationship building, and it's so important relationship building, face to face appointments. I think some of the sports teams got out of doing the face to face appointments because during COVID time we didn't go on any face to face appointments. We did everything by email. We did everything by either Google Calendar Meet. I think it's so important to build a relationship face to face and going on those meetings, going to their office, having them come to your stadium. And some people say, "Oh, that's old school selling," but it's really not. It's about building relationships. And if you build a relationship with a client and you provide great customer service, you're the last thing they're going to cut. They're going to come back every single year and do groups and do events and stuff with you. And that's where I think my sales training has helped so much with people getting the appointments and building that relationship with the client. I have a client at every single team that I reached out to when I was starting my company and said, "Hey, would you write a quick testimonial for me?" Every single team, I had 2 or 3 clients that, John, I'll send that over to you today. Give me a couple days, I'll get it to you. I mean, so I still have a client in Sacramento that reaches out to me and asks me if the pricing is good for her picnic area and if they've changed it too much. So, I mean, but that's important. I mean, I haven't worked in Sacramento since 2008. So we're looking at like 15 years, but I still have a relationship with those clients, and they still reach out to me and talk to me and still send me messages on LinkedIn, send me emails. And I think that's important. Having the relationships with the clients, building that relationship, face-to-face appointments. You cannot, and I have to tell the story all the time. I think I'm a great salesperson. I've never sold a billboard over the phone, ever. You have to do a meeting. You have to do a face-to-face meeting. You have to be able to tailor and assess and take care of the client. And I think that's important for getting more and more sales reps out in the community, face-to-face appointments. It's key.
Yeah, 100%. So if teams are interested to reach out to you, John, to talk about doing some sales training, either in the middle of the season to kind of help coach them up on trying to get some sales towards the end of the year, or at the end of the season, being able to schedule some time with you for you to come in and spend some time with their team, what's the best way that teams can get in contact with you?
They can go to my website, ballgameconsulting.com, and there's some information there. Or they can reach out call me directly at 815-704-0111. But yeah, if you go to my website, go to LinkedIn, shoot me a message, and I'd love to talk to you and see if I can help your organization.
A veteran in professional sports, from baseball to football to basketball, across the board, and an excellent sales trainer and a great friend. John, appreciate you spending some time talking on the Sports Marketing Machine podcast.
Hey, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate you having me on today.
You got it.
All right. Take care.
All right, I hit